But with all these names being tossed around as potential trade acquisitions, somebody's got to go. Now, who on the active roster has played their last game as a Met? Is it Mark Vientos? Is it Ronnie Mauricio? Is it Brett Baty? Is it Luis Angel Acuna? Um, let's let's take a look. Ronnie Mauricio signed as an international free agent by the Mets. He's homegrown. Brett Baty drafted by the Mets. He's homegrown. Vientos drafted by the Mets. He's homegrown. Luis Angel Acuna just 2 years ago was acquired in the trade deadline deal for Max Scherzer when Scherzer got traded to the Rangers back in 2023. But somebody in that young group has played their last game as a Met. Now, if I'm David Stearns and I'm analyzing this roster of who can go and who stays, it all depends on what you're giving up. Now, here's my thing. I want to keep Ronnie Mauricio only because Ronnie, switch hitter, defensively, he may be the second best in the group. He I don't know if the ACL injury he had doesn't appear to have robbed him of any speed or explosiveness on the base paths. I mean, he started off this season on the wrong foot, struggling, but he started to pick it up. Luis Angel Acuna, contact hitter, does not have the power his brother Ronald has, but I like Acuna because he's shorthanded defensively. He's very fast. And unlike Ronnie, he's more prone to put a ball in play than strike out. Then it comes down to Brett Baty and Mark Vientos. And you know what? We look at the numbers between the two. Brett Baty was sent down once already this season, and then he was recalled. And, Brett Baty, for what it's worth, he's had a lot of moments where he's bailed the Mets out of some jams offensively. 11 home runs, 33 RBIs, and a 235 average, but most of those home runs he's hit have been very timely in situations where the Mets were down or the Mets were tied and needed to get over the hump in the game, and here came Brett Baty. Then you look at Swaggy V, Mark Vientos, and Vientos, 226 average, 6 home runs, 27 RBIs. Brett Baty, who has 251 at bats, and Vientos, who has 257 at bats. That's a difference of 6 at bats, and in 6 less at bats, Brett has been more productive than Vientos has. I like Swaggy V a lot, and I'm sad to say it, but I think he won't be a Met past Thursday if he's not dealt before. Vientos, young kid, 25 years of age, had an amazing second half last season, but baseball, unless you're Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, Billy Wagner, or Dave Parker this past weekend, rest in peace to the Cobra, he's not here anymore. But unless you're one of those guys this past weekend, it's not about what you did in the past. It's about what you're doing now. It's about what you're doing this season if you're an active player in the league. I'll always remember Mark Vientos' second half last season. But this season, he's not pulling his weight. Now, I can see Mark Vientos going to Chicago and joining a Miguel Vargas and a Chase Mydroth and them growing together and building to be a offense once a couple of years go by. They can grow into a team that can gel together and win games and get a playoff spot. But for a team that's contending and trying to win right now and compete with the likes of the Dodgers, I say, hey, Vientos has got to go. Vientos, as much as I like Vientos, I think he's on borrowed time. It's only a matter of time before we see Mark Vientos traded. I realistically believe, and you're hearing it here first, I think the Mets get Luis Robert and Mark Vientos will be involved in a deal. As far as the prospects, I don't expect any big name prospects to get moved. I think Jonah Tong is beyond safe. I think Carson Benj is beyond safe. Brandon Sproat is beyond safe. Jet Williams beyond safe. I don't foresee any of them getting moved. I think Vientos and probably some single A guys from St. Lucie or from Brooklyn will be moved in this deal. So that's my opinion. I think Mark Vientos is going to be the one to get moved. I don't foresee Vientos and Ronnie or Vientos and Brett or Vientos and Acuna getting moved. I think it's going to be Vientos and a couple of prospects, to tell you the truth. One last player that I want to see the Mets go after, because again, the Mets do need bullpen help. Ryan Helsley of the St. Louis Cardinals, ladies and gentlemen. I firmly believe that Ryan Helsley is going to end up getting traded somewhere. Helsley has made 36 appearances this season. He is the closer in St. Louis. He's 3-1 with an ERA of 3, struck out 41 in 36 innings. Ryan Helsley has proven in the past he is a shutdown, lockdown closer. Helsley, solid numbers. Of course, lifetime Ryan Helsley, 31-15 win-loss record, career ERA 2.67, a little under a third of an inning shy of 300 with 355 strikeouts. I have no issue with the Mets acquiring Ryan Helsley. Well, in other news, because again, trade deadline is dominating everything, but the Mets have also been fielding calls for Starling Marte. Starling Marte, who is batting much better than anybody could have hoped for. Starling Marte this season, now he's been a bench player, a platoon guy. He is physically on the decline. He's been more of a DH than anything, but he is batting .289 on the season, 4 home runs, 20 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, OPS of 788. And you know what? I can understand why teams are calling for Starling Marte, because again, the guy's batting .289. That's great. But here's my thing. Marte will probably get packaged with Vientos. If Vientos goes to the White Sox, Marte is going to be on the way out. That's just the reality of it. Marte is going to be the equivalent of Andrew McCutchen. Starling Marte is going to be a veteran presence who went to the All-Star game a couple of times in his career. And he's a guy who has tons of experience. Of course, Marte went to the All-Star game twice, once with the Pirates in 2016 and with his first season with the Mets in 2022. He's won 2 Gold Gloves. And Marte, again, serviceable veteran. Lifetime Starling Marte, 286 lifetime career hitter, 653 RBIs, 158 homers, 359 stolen bases. So Starling Marte, serviceable veteran. And he'll probably be the right guy to go to a clubhouse full of young kids and be a leader, similar to Andrew McCutchen with the Pirates, on the older player who only has a couple good years, serviceable years left in his career, and he'll be a mentor to all the young major leaguers on that team. But it would not surprise me to see Starling Marte move. And the Mets in spring training, when camp broke, they did publicly acknowledge that they tried to shop Starling Marte around. Nobody bit on a trade offer in the offseason. But things are different now. Mets are trying to acquire something to give them a push during the dog days of summer. as we approach the fall, as we get closer to October, and they're going to have to give up something. And Marte is hitting 289. That's attractive to a lot of teams. And again, older player. He's been around for a long time. He can be a mentor to younger players in the league, depending on what team he goes to. Whether he's traded to the Pirates, which that's the team he came up with. He'll be reunited with Andrew McCutchen, who was a longtime teammate of his. He can go. He can go to the White Sox and be a veteran there to mentor Vargas and Mydroff and Tim Elko and the rest of these young guys. So, and Colson Montgomery, who's their hot chip prospect. So I doubt it. I doubt if they acquire Eugenio Suarez, the Diamondbacks would want Marte in return, but you never know. I could see a third baseman swap between Gino and Swaggy happening, but again, Marte, he too, I do not foresee being a member of this Mets roster. Once the trade deadline dust has settled and cleared.